Johnny Ray Reed here with my Reed brothers, Lee, Tommy, and Dwayne. What's it? We all been in the military.
I was near it.
Near it? Okay.
Military adjacent.
Per se.
All right. So
Allegedly.
who's got an experience they want to give up?
I got one.
Okay, hit it.
So I was in Iceland, and we were walking posts, right? We had all these posts, and we have this one called Papa 5. It's a 3-man post, right? It's a gate guard. There's a foot patrol, and there's a truck patrol. And so we would always have the corporal of the guard come try to break into the post, right, and try to recon it.
Yeah.
Well, we're in Iceland. There's a lot of rumors that Iceland's not cold. That's a bunch of bullshit. Iceland's cold. When you're coming from Texas to Iceland, it's cold. Yeah. And the summertime, it's 50, 60 degrees. But in the wintertime, you get 7-8 foot snowdrifts, and you're like, oh my God. But anyway, it was the middle of winter, and the corporal of the guard decided he was going to recon that post. And so the post is surrounded by 2 fences, right? One, an inner and outer fence. So he makes it over the first fence, and Constantino were at the top. And he decides he's going to make it over the second fence, right? And the way he does it, he takes blankets and throws it over the Constantino wire, and he tries to throw himself over. Well, he did that on the second fence, and he gets caught. When I say he gets caught, his boot is caught, and so he's hanging upside down on this 10-foot fence. Now, we don't know this because he dropped his radio. And so we're checking in with the corporal of the guard because you do it every 30 minutes, right? And so we're checking in with the corporal of the guard, and he's not responding, and we're like, okay, we're getting recon. But we can't hear anything because the wind blows so hard there. You've got your helmet on, right? You've got your cold weather gear on. It's covering your ears. You're trying to stay warm. So you really can't hear the corporal of the guard screaming at the top of his lungs that he's hung upside down from Constantino wire from a 10-foot fence. Well, we're patrolling, and I had this guy named Jackson who was in the truck patrol. I was on foot patrol, and we had a gate guard. And so I'm patrolling, and I have to make the entire perimeter, right, of the over time, right? And he just drives them down the roads, right? Jackson. So he's driven by the corporal of the guard like 4 times. Hadn't seen him. It's very evident from the road he's hanging from the fence. And he's screaming at the top of his lungs to get Jackson to pull over. And so I'm walking, and I see Jackson's lights coming, right? And I see them shine on the fence, and the corporal of the guard's in whites. He's in whites, right? Yeah. He's hanging from the outside of the white. I don't know it's the corporal of the guard at this time. I'm guessing it probably is him. So I'm going to do the right action. And so I start running towards the corporal of the guard, and Jackson honks at me and drives on by. I'm like, what the hell, man? What's wrong with you? This guy was kind of an idiot. He really was. And so I ran over and said, you have a protocol. You go, halt, stance, right?
Yeah.
Who goes there? And he goes, it's me, you fucking idiot. It's the corporal of the guard. I'm hanging upside down. Blood's rushing to my hand. I'm fixing to throw up. Get me the fuck down from here.
But what's the password?
There is a password. There is a password, right? And he couldn't remember it for shit. And so I get closer to it, and I see this Corporal Lancour, right? I can see it visibly in his face. And I said, well, sir, what's your challenge word? What's your challenge word? And he just can't give me. He said, I don't remember. I'm hanging upside down. Get me down from here. And so I called it in, right? I called in the SOG, right? And I said, hey, we got an intruder. He claims to be corporal of the guard. He doesn't know the challenge word. I visibly recognize him, but I've kept him on the fence. And the Sergeant Gallagher goes, get him down. Get him down right now. So this guy he's a tough dude.
Yeah.
Lancour was a tough dude. He was a real hard-nosed motherfucker, and he was tough as hell. But that day, he always was really rough on us guys. And that day, though, we were really rough back on him. It was really, really a bad experience for him. But anyway, that's one of my funny stories. Best one I can remember.
Yeah, those are some of those those exercises.
Yeah.
I've done some of those, and it's just like, people can be really, it's like, okay, we got to do the protocol.
Yeah.
And so it's like, what is the password? What's the
challenge? What's the challenge word?
Exactly. If you don't give it to me, you can't go.
That's right. You're going to hang from the fence.
Yeah. Okay, Tommy, what about you? I know you got one.
Oh, God.
Maybe one.
Here it comes.
All right, I've got a safe for work one.
Nothing's safe for work with you.
In Panama in the 80s, they didn't like sending people back to the States for school, so they decided they're going to have their own. And the airborne was needing people on their side of the canal, so they started running people through their own ground school that they'd set up at Fort Sherman. So I was a volunteer hound and volunteered to go, did all the ground school stuff and all the related shenanigans. Well, a couple weeks later, there came down a detail for me to go to Honduras.
Not Hondo, Texas.
Not Hondo, Texas. Stop
Much
off.
different place.
Stop off at Castroville.
Yeah.
So I went to the airfield, got on the airplane, and we take off. We're in the air, and I'd been in the Gulf on Tiger Island a few times, so I know what the coastline looks like. And I tug on the crew chief's uniform, and I go, I'm supposed to get off in Honduras. He goes, no, man, this plane doesn't stop till it hits Mexico. We're doing a consulate hop. I'm like, what? And on the other side was a group of high-speed, very motivated American soldiers in various degree of camouflage. One of them had a Washington Redskins football helmet on, and one of them was grinning from ear to ear, holding a parachute. And I was like, no, no. And they commenced to beat the living daylights out of me, strapped me in, and threw me out the back. The only way I knew how to jump at the time was you take the yellow strap, hook it up, and run out the back. Well, I didn't know that there was one of the operators was behind me holding a drag chute, and the jump master in front was staring at me, grinning, holding this yellow strap. So I'm leaving a stream of urine as I'm falling, and the guy in the back poof pops it. I hit the ground like 500 pounds of wet dog shit. Just
Oh shit! Oh shit!
No.
How far away from anything were you when you hit the ground?
Well, at one point about 1,000 feet, and then shortly thereafter.
Oh, so you were pretty close to your destination, or?
Oh, no! I landed in the middle of Honduras. I had to walk about 12 miles to
12
get where I was
miles.
supposed to go.
Oh man!
So did the rest of the team, but that was just how it worked. We ended up going just south of Tegucigalpa.
Nice.
That was, and they laughed and they laughed. Did you see the look on your face?
No,
No, I didn't.
but I felt the,
Yeah.
felt the urine coming out into my pants.
No, but
Look at my pants.
I'm going to shit in your pillowcase. So that was my first job.
Oh,
The
shit.
remaining 4 after that were relatively inconsequential.
Nice.
So you finally made it to Hondo.
Finally made it to Honduras. I had to walk from that point, and then that was the point in the brochure that was you could jump out all of this fancy aircraft, but you end up having to walk to where you're supposed to be. No, they left that out of the brochure.
It's usually not like in the next terminal. It's probably, several miles away.
Yes, uphill both ways in the snow.
Nice. Nice.
How about Dwayne?
I don't know if I have a whole lot of cool ones, but one of my favoriteest ones. So, after I'd been in the military a while, I'd screwed my back up, and then I was on a training mission and screwed up both of my knees. So, physically, I was pretty much done. And I got my platoon that, everybody knew and loved me. Were going on a float, and I couldn't go with them, so they transferred me over to another
Going on
Another
a float.
battalion.
What's a float?
on a ship. They were
Okay.
going to go out for 6 months on a boat.
That's a Navy Marine thing.
Navy
Okay.
Marine thing. So, yeah, I couldn't go. So they shipped me off to another battalion. So there's sordid tales about 9th Marines, and I was with 5th Marines, and I got switched over to the 9th Marines. And they did not know me. They did not know what a good Marine I was. So they did not treat me very well. And me being the me that I am, I didn't put up with a whole lot of it. So we were having a little cleaning in our squad bay, and one of the NCOs told me to do something. I said, very politely, "Hey, that just got done," and he started to berate me and called me some names, and I turned around and I said, "Fuck you," real loud, under my breath, real loud where everybody could hear. And,
Being the subtle person that you are.
being the kind, polite person I am. I didn't say it to his face.
When I think of that, I think of subtle.
Oh,
I always think
But,
yeah, I can see that now.
No, they didn't. They did not take to that. And so, I've got a broom in my hand, and I'm walking away, trying to de-escalate the situation. And they all came up on me, and I think I had like 5 or 6 NCOs just surrounding me, yelling at me, and I got my broomstick, and I was not taking any of it. And anyway, they were not willing to engage me any further. So someone had taken my broom away, so it was just me and my hands. And anyway, they chose not to escalate it beyond that. A few moments later, after things had calmed, they cleared out the squad bay, and it's all these NCOs and me, and they're starting to just tear into me, and they're asking me, basically, what is your major malfunction? And I went into the Stripes monologue. Bill Murray with the staff sergeant, the big toe. And I went off about did the whole spiel from the movie. Bill Murray, when he's like, I get it, doing push-ups and all of this stuff. If you don't want me in your army, whatever, kick me out. Otherwise, get off my back. That was the whole spiel. And they didn't get it because they were very angry at me at the time. But I found great humor in that. So
I find great humor in it today.
that's a funny story for me.
Yeah. For me, let's see. Got a few of them. I think the most dumbest one, it's hilarious actually. I was in Korea, and it was a 12-month tour. Of course, there was a high turnover. And when you're in Korea, and it's because you're on your own solo tour, accompanied family, and I had usually the first 3 months and the last 3 months, or if you're going to get in trouble, if somebody gets in trouble, that's usually when first 30 days, last 30 days, because they're new to it, they don't know the ways. The last, they think they can't be touched, so they go out and just jack shit up. And so I had a Katusha in my. Katusha is a Korean augmentee, because they got to do their 2 years. So we had Katushas attached to our unit, and I had another guy he was in the army, but he was from Korea. So they were from the same area, so they'd go out and party all the time. Of course, there's curfews. You got to be back on post after before midnight. And these 2 guys, they're Koreans. They could go anywhere and nobody would ever question them. But it was like, oh no, we got to get back onto Yongsan, because it's curfew. So they got back to base, and these guys both fell underneath me, in terms of rank. And so they tried to they wanted to get back on Yongsan. They realized it was going to violate curfew. So they found a spot where the closest dwelling was to the fence line. They climbed up onto that house, and then they ran and jumped over the fence. Well, so there's the homeowners knew that somebody was out there. They reported it, saying, called the MP saying somebody jumped over. And of course, they thought they were going to get away with it. Oh, we're on post. We're getting away with it. Well, in Korea, they got more CCTV than anywhere, because you're in the heart of Seoul pretty much.
Yeah.
well, they were able to pull the footage up, and they had video. Of course, when I got to work, it was like, or I got a text message saying, "Hey, your soldiers got in trouble," and I'm like, "What the hell?" So I walked over to the barracks, and because I lived in a BEQ, and I walked right across the street, and I'm like, "Hey, dude!" I knocked on the door, and I was like, "What the hell happened?" And they're like, "Oh, we can't go nowhere, Sergeant." I'm like, "What happened?" And they're like, "Well, we got caught violating curfew." And of course, later it comes out, and it's like, "You stupid asses!" You think you're going to get away with it. The guy from the Army, he wound up getting chapped. He got a field grade Article 15.
Oh man!
So he went from E4 to E1. And then the Katusa, because they fall under the Korean government, the Sergeant Major, they wanted to give him 18 months of prison sentence.
Holy
It's like this guy had.
That's harsh, man.
Oh yeah, they were gonna.
That's harsh.
He had 5 days left of his 2-year contract. 5 days, and he did this. So it was just. There's a lot of stupid stuff that happens, and
I think our wives are having a good time.
yeah. What's that?
I think our wives are having a good time.
Yeah, but there's a lot of really stupid things, and it's comical looking back on it. Watching these guys jumping over a fucking fence. It's like, dude, why don't you just get in a cab and go to another bar? I've done that. I'm American.
So I have a question for the three of you guys, and this is not. This may kind of violate one of the subjects there, but is the worst drunk you've ever had been in the military?
Worst drunk?
Worst, the worst, the hardest you've been drunk ever.
Oh, I don't know.
No.
Minus.
No, I don't know. I think.
No. No.
I got so drunk one night, and a bunch of us did, but we had this drink called Agent Orange in Iceland, and our barracks had a bar in it. We had our own bar, and we were responsible for running it and cleaning it up on the weekends and at night, right? If you were on duty, you didn't have to. You're off duty, then you had to run the bar, you had to clean the bar, you had all those things. So we had this drink called Agent Orange, and I drank so many of them that I ended up in a snowbank. I don't know how I got there. With vomit all over the place, right? And there's cameras, right? So the sergeant of the guard showed me the video. Somebody, don't know who it was, drugged me by my feet into the laundry room, right? And I didn't, and it caught on camera, right? But my face went across the door like this, right? Because they pulling me from my stomach. And that was the worst drunk I have ever had. I have a very close second that Jason knows about, but that was the worst drunk I ever had. I literally thought I was gonna die that night. I was so drunk. And anyway,
I've had some good ones. Did you shit yourself?
I did piss myself.
You've been a little drunk.
I think.
I can tell you, I went.
You ever played with your own vomit?
No.
I have.
I went to Korea, right? I was on a little vacation, and we landed, and I can't remember what the air base was. Osan. And we get off, and we start heading off base, and a little siren goes off, and they're like, the police are like, military police are like, you got to get off the street. You can't be on the street right now. You got to seek shelter. So me and my buddy, there's 2 others, we went into this building, and apparently it was a bar. We started drinking soju.
Soju.
Dangerous.
10 days later, we went back. I don't remember what really happened in between then and there. There was a lot of fun. I have glimpses of things, of hookers and dogs, and some gang fights in the back alleys, and but
soju is some crazy shit.
That's some good stuff.
It is some
Enjoyed
good
it.
stuff. There's a bar that focuses on it in Austin on East 6th. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that was something interesting that happened. I was again back in Japan, serving in Japan, standing post in Japan. A lot of times our duty stations had Japanese nationals serving alongside of us.
Yeah.
So I'm in this little booth. It's freaking cold outside. It's just me and this 2 Japanese guys. And one of them's asking me, what the name you call Japanese? Well, we say, JN, Japanese National, or, Nippon. We say, that's what we say. No. What the name you call Japanese?
You do this very good,
You
by the
say
way.
Brahman. You call Brahman Negro. What the name you call Japanese? I was like, he wants me to ethnically slur him. I look at it, I'm like, what you call us? What you say? And so I'm like, well, okay. We say slope, zipper,
It's like
yeller, Charlie,
Dang, man.
goop, and I start, and he's looking at me like, whoa! And he just started laughing. He wanted me to just insult the crap out of him ethnically as much as I possibly could.
And he found it funny.
And he thought it was hilarious. And he started teaching me all kinds of inappropriate Japanese songs that I could sing.
Oh, shit.
Like the song for the Tanuki. Don, don, tanuki, nuki, tanawa, koze, manayo, buddha, buddha. Right?
Oh, my God.
You got a talent we didn't know about.
We do. I mean, you do a great Japanese accent. I'm telling you that right now. Very, very
Just,
good.
yeah, I had a great time. So I thought that was pretty funny.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So many unique experiences when you're in the military. So many things that you remember that you just don't have those experiences anymore because there's just not the opportunity for it. Because this world's different from that world.
People have too many.
Yeah, and the thing about the military is like you won't get it in the civilian world because it's just totally different because you go to different places, you got different types of personalities, and because everybody's raised their right hand and you're under a different code, and it just changes the whole world,
It does.
and how you do things.
It does.
You haven't lived till you convinced your battle buddy to take a shit in somebody's water buffalo, and then you turn it on. Then you open the spigot, and it creates a suction that pulls him down inside, and then you close it. So now he can't fucking get out. So as the offended unit is leaving the field, they don't see the jackass stuck in the water buffalo. And he gets all the way back to the motor pool. Him and his shitty ass.
Well, that will wrap up the moment of good stories in the military with the Reed Brothers.
That's right.
We're going to end on that note.
You can't top that one. Reed Brothers out.
Thanks for
You
joining
don't
us.
top a water buffalo.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Take care.
Reed Brothers. Reed Brothers.